Okay, so my first question for you is, how has depression affected your life?
Uh, how hasn't it? um, I've suffered from depression for uh, most of my life, most of my adult life. I have been on medications for years. Tried different things, the Prozac and now, of course, I can't think of the ones because menopause brain. Can't think of what I had for dinner last night. Um, but a lot of that stuff didn't work. A lot of it was me trying to tell myself I didn't need it. Uh, so, and I've been up and down. So the first time I threatened um, suicide, to unalive myself, I didn't actually do it, but that was 2012, and that was my mom had passed away in August of 2011, and I just never really dealt with it very well. I had a lot of guilt, uh, a lot of grief, a lot of trauma emotionally with her. So there was so many feelings that I just couldn't process. Found a great therapist and started from there. I really believe that she saved my life, along with some medications. But the last few years, it's just my anxiety has gotten to the point where I can't function and do my job correctly, or want to get up in the morning and go to work. Um, so it's affected my job, my income. Uh, it's affected my friendships because I will cancel. I'll make plans in 1 week, and then when it comes to the time, I kind of freak out and think, oh my God, what am I going to do? How do I get there? Where do I park? And then I just say, I'm not going to go. So I feel like I've lost some friendships from it, which in turn then just enhances the depression and loneliness. My husband has been very supportive, um, but he doesn't understand it because he's not been through it before. Um, so it's affected the fact that I can't even clean my house because it's overwhelming. I don't cook anymore. I My husband's been a saint because I really have just basically checked out of um, all of my responsibilities at this point, um, which is why I always say it's the last straw is the lightest, and
Mhm.
that I used to run. I ran a lot. I ran a half marathon in February. I was continuing to run. Um, I was trying. I had tried increasing. I was taking sertraline, which I think is Zoloft.
Yep.
Um, and so we increased that dosage, and that didn't work. And then I was out running, and I say that loosely because I literally ran a mile when my normal days are, you know, a 5K. Just my easy days are at least 3 miles, maybe 4 or 5. And I could barely get through 1 mile. And I laid in the grass in our neighborhood, and I just decided I didn't want to be here anymore. And I cried all the way back to the house and basically collapsed on the floor and just said, I told my husband the same thing. Said, I don't want to be here anymore. I can't do this. I'm a burden. You know, I'm turning some of my things into trying to make me happy by buying things, which only puts us in debt. And it's like a cycle. So it's affected pretty much everything.
So, how
Everything.
did your husband react to you when you told him you were a burden?
Of course, he said I wasn't. But all these things go through your mind when you're in that dark place. You're a burden. You're a failure. You are incompetent. You're not worthy. Um, feel like I'm just taking up space in this world, and not contributing. And I just didn't want that anymore. I wanted to see my mom up in heaven.
So
And
at this,
he held on to me and just said, we're gonna figure this out. And
good.
You're not a burden. You're not a disappointment. All the things that I've heard growing up. So he's been great.
Okay, so at this point in your life, would you say the depression is worse or the anxiety is worse?
Right now, on this day, I believe my anxiety is worse.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the depression, this treatment is I feel is starting to help me. I still have my days. It's never going to go away. It's not a miracle cure. I still have my days where I take a shower and I have all these things planned to do, run errands, go do here, go do this, go do that, go work out. And I get out of the shower and I lay on the bed and that's where I stay the rest of the day. So it kind of comes and goes.
Okay, I'm going to tell you something.
Teach me something.
It might go away because, in my past, I have been very depressed. I've had horrible panic attacks to the point where I wouldn't even leave my house. And over several years, I have learned how to teach myself to make those feelings go away and how to stop the panic attacks in their tracks just by learning how to get my mind away from what's going on in my body.
Yeah.
So the first mistake I think you're making, I mean, you're doing a lot of good things. You're trying new therapies. That's great. But you've got to be really careful of the black and white thinking. This is never going to go away. I'm worthless. I'm a burden. Those kind of things. If you think them and say them enough, you start to believe them. But I'm sure they're probably not true, right?
That's actually hard for me to answer because I'm kind of still in that mode of just being either a financial burden or an emotional burden and even shirking, just all of my responsibilities. So it doesn't make me feel.
So what you have is no different than somebody with diabetes or heart failure or kidney failure or cancer, right? It just affects a different organ of your body. So really, the secret here is to find something that works for you. Because the thing about psychiatry in general is everybody is so different. We can't just give somebody Prozac and assume that they're going to be not depressed anymore. We can't just give somebody Xanax and say, when you have a panic attack, take this and you're going to be cured. It's more about learning how to do. Hi, Becky.
Hi, Becky.
It's more about learning how to change the way you think, which changes the way you feel. And I know you can do this. So some of the questions here you've already answered, but I want to talk a little bit about Spravato and how you learned about it, how you decided to go on it, and what it's actually done for you. Balloons.
I like those balloons. Those are awesome.
Wow. I've never seen balloons before.
That's awesome.
That was cool.
So it does kind of go with, my sister from another Mr. Becky Johnson. We also have the same last name.
Yes.
So we are family. And she has been doing the IV ketamine.
Yep.
For some of her issues and her medical things. And I saw such a huge change in her. She's like a completely different person. And when I was going through the beginning stages of this, when I started out on short-term disability with my employer, I was trying to do everything I could. I was looking at it, being down here. I've only been down in Florida for just over 3 years now, and I never really, needed a psychiatrist. I've never seen an actual psychiatrist. It's always been therapy, talk therapy, that kind of thing. My primary doctor has always been the one who has prescribed my sertraline or something to help me sleep. But I found just Googling somebody near me and somebody that I could build a rapport with. So that's how I found him. And I found this doctor. I'm just going to refer to him as Dr. B because I always mess up his last name. So yeah, I talked to him about it. We've gone through it. We tried other things. And that was one thing I appreciated about this psychiatrist, this doctor, that we tried different oral medications. We upped my dose of sertraline to 200 milligrams a day. Then he added Wellbutrin. Well, that didn't really do anything. And I was still crying every day and not wanting to be here. And so he took me off of that, and we started on something that I can't remember. It's a newer drug. I know it starts with an A, but you take one like in the morning, and then you take another one 8 hours later. So it's on like a time release, and he said it's based off of a cough medicine. And that made me so jittery, and my brain was kind of foggy. I'm like, okay, so this isn't working, because I can't even write. My hands were shaking. My brain kind of just wasn't working. So we tried as much as I wanted to try as far as medications. And it was up to me. And I just said, tell me a little bit more. And so he did. And I, researched it from his website, from, the good old intrawebs, and decided that was where I wanted to go. And he was all for it. So.
Okay. So how long have you been doing this therapy?
Okay. Well, it's a week longer than what it was supposed to, because this is something where tomorrow will be my last treatment in the initial session of it. So I started out, it's normally an 8-week process. So okay. The first 4 weeks you go in twice a week. And then the following 4 weeks you go once a week. And then I'll have an appointment with him to kind of decide where I'm at, how I'm doing. And then if I need to continue coming in once a week, or if I can go maybe once every 2 weeks. But like I said, tomorrow is my last treatment for this 8-week treatment plan.
So can you walk us through what happens when you get there? You can't do this at home, right?
No.
You have to go someplace.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Can you just tell the people out there what is involved in S-ketamine?
Sure. So you have to have somebody take you because you can't drive home. So you get there, they give you, it's a nasal spray. So it's just like taking Afrin or whatever. And you do one shot in each nostril, and that's one dose. And then they come back 5 minutes later and you get a second dose. That was my first day. The second, every consecutive one now is actually 3 doses. So the first one was 2 doses to kind of get you, kind of, I guess, build it up in your system or whatever. But then usually now by the time I get my 3rd one, I'm already kind of under the influence, I will say. So then they shut the lights off. They have TVs, so my husband watches TV. It's his treat because he gets to watch Coach, which he hasn't seen since it was on in like the 80s or whatever. And I have a sleep mask, and I try to fall asleep. I can't. But you just lay there, and about 45 minutes after the first dose, they come in and they take your blood pressure again. I'm sorry, they did that right before you take your first one. They come in and take your blood pressure, just to make sure everything is still kind of going. And then they you're there for 2 hours. From the time you take your first dose, they will let you go after 2 hours, because you just kind of lay there and you basically start, I guess for lack of a better term, you're just high. You feel like you're floating. You feel like your legs are numb. I remember everything that happens. But it's like you can't stop. Like you can't stop from saying some things. And, like my first dose, I said, I said, I can't feel my feet and I can't feel my legs. And I said to my husband, I'm going to be like Lieutenant Dan and be in a wheelchair because I have no legs. Because that's what it feels like. You can't really grasp after, like what's happening. But every sound, every smell is just super in very heightened. So everything seems loud. I feel like I'm talking loud. I need help because I usually have to go to the bathroom in the middle of it. So my husband has to take me because I cannot walk straight. I can't, I see like triple. I don't even see double. I see like triple. But then, I get home, we drive home, and I'm usually kind of just laid back in his seat. And I try to just keep my eyes closed. And then for about half an hour after that, I'm still kind of, I can't really move quickly. Let's just put it that way. Like your head is still kind of maybe coming down a little bit. And then a couple hours later, it's pretty much like kind of back to my normal. My normal.
Have you had any side effects after the treatments, like hours later or days later, anything like that?
I don't think so. I mean, I have headaches, but I've always kind of had one of those, like always had a background headache. So maybe like that day would maybe be the most of the side effect that I can think of, which has been really good.
Okay, so has it helped you?
Yes. As we spoke about before, it is a disease. It's not going to go away.
No. I don't want you to say that.
It's
now hold on a second before let's talk about this for a second.
Okay.
Did your therapist or doctor tell you that?
No.
Okay, I want you to think differently, and I want you to tell yourself every day that it is going to go away. In fact, I want you to do that multiple times a day.
I will try.
I want you to change your thinking in your head that you can get better. You aren't a burden. People love you. You're here for a reason. And if you don't believe you're here for a reason, remember that God doesn't make mistakes. Do I think the infusion is better than the spray? Absolutely. Yes, I do. We do use ketamine for depression as an infusion as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's expensive.
Not usually covered by insurance either.
Insurance won't pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
So do I think you should do that? It depends on whether the nasal spray actually works well enough for you. But I think that would be probably a reasonable, I mean, look what it's done for Becky, right?
I know. She's a rock star.
So she is another person who went from basically bedridden
Mm-hmm.
to, she was pretty close to normal last time I saw her. Now, you know, I don't live with her and I don't see her every day all the time, but she, compared to what she said her life used to be like, she's changed a whole lot.
She has. She has.
So, you know, hope is one of those things that can really change. And you've said a couple of things. I mean, I'm not a psychiatrist, but I know a lot about psychiatry because that's my specialty in pharmacy. So, and I've read a lot of notes that psychiatrists have written. And there's certain things that I can glean from these conversations. One is, you said you used to run 5K and you stopped doing that.
Yep.
So that in itself, for somebody with depression, is not good, right? I mean, if you could run every morning, all the studies have shown that the vitamin D, being outside, exercise, all of those things can really help you in addition to the drugs, because really the drugs are just Band-Aids. They give you a little bit more serotonin. You know, ketamine works a little bit different, but they increase neurotransmitters in your brain, but they can't fix everything.
Right.
So before I go to the next question, I'm going to ask you this question. And I don't know if you've ever been in my TikTok lives, but I've talked about this book probably 300 times. There's a book written by a psychiatrist called Feeling Good.
Okay. I'm writing it down.
What this book is it's cognitive behavioral therapy that you can do yourself. There's a bunch of exercises in there. You can get it at Amazon. Probably today, you know, they had that big Amazon deal going for like, I don't know, it's $15 or $12 or something.
Right.
This book has totally, completely changed the way I think, for one. There is a link to it in my bio as well, if you want.
Okay.
But basically part of this book is stopping you from doing those, I call them thinking errors, because that's what they are, you know. I'm never going to get this job. I can't, I'm worthless. You can go on and on. There are all these things. If you say I'm ugly, I'm stupid, I'm fat, all that stuff. And I don't know that you're doing that too, but people do that and they continue to do it. And then pretty soon your mind believes it's true when really it's not true.
Yeah. I've gone through all of that.
So cognitive behavioral therapy this book has actually been shown in studies to be as effective as an SSRI, believe it or not.
Okay.
And here's the best part about it though. How many side effects do you think the book has?
0.
Right. Anyway, I'm not trying to lecture you. I just
No, I'm not taking it that way.
I want you to get better, and I know you can get better. And yes, it can go away. It can happen. Doesn't happen to everybody, but it can happen to you. There's thousands of people that have been cured. I've seen it done with ketamine. I've seen it done with ECT. I've seen it done with drug therapy, right? So it absolutely can happen for you. It can.
I hope so.
It can. Okay, so what advice would you give somebody who gets as low as you were? What do you wish you would have known 5 years ago or 10 years ago or whenever this started?
Gosh. Well, I wish I had known about this, kind of therapy, but I don't even know how long it's really been around. I think it's fairly new. I don't know that for
It is
sure,
very
but,
new. Yes.
But I mean, I want people to know the benefits of it. I want them to understand that it does help. Um, it makes my thoughts and my unalive ideations not at the forefront of my brain,
Good.
as they were pretty much all summer. As I didn't start this treatment until the middle of August, so I was in a bad place for a couple months before we figured this all out, and I wish I could say that I felt that I didn't feel that kind of blah that kind of goes along with depression, and I still kind of feel that, but it's taken away kind of the sharpness of my depression, my symptoms, how I felt about myself. So for that, I am very grateful.
Okay. Another thing that I heard you say is you didn't need a psychiatrist. At one point you said that.
That I did not?
Yeah, you said I didn't need a psychiatrist.
Oh, well, that was years ago.
Okay.
So this was I need a doctor that will help me, because another one of my kind of last straws was I had made an appointment in tears. I needed to get into my primary care doctor. Like I said, I was in tears going, I just need to see her. I got in the next day and she basically did nothing for me. I sat there, I paid my $30. I mean, I don't know if I wanted her to just, increase my dose or something, but I literally paid $30, my deductible, to go in there and have her say, well, you need to call a psychiatrist, because that's just a little bit out of my thing. Let's see what your psychiatrist says. And so I walked out of there, I felt like no one wanted to help me, because I was actually calling psychiatrist's office and therapy offices, knowing that I needed that. Because talk therapy has worked for me in the past. And everyone was either, well, I'm only doing things virtually, or no, I don't have time to see you, or sorry, or not even a phone call back. And so that's why, when I finally got a hold of this doctor's office, and we set up a video call for the following week. And yes, we do it by video, which is fine. I'm okay with that. But that put me really low as well, because I'm asking people for help and I'm either ignored or brushed off. And it wasn't a very good feeling. I felt like I'm trying to do all the right things here and nothing's working. So I'm very grateful to my doctor for, listening to me and following up with everything that, is this working? How do you feel? It's not working. This is working, whatever. So I'm just happy that I finally have a psychiatrist, and I'm proud of it.
You should be.
The one thing that I have at least learned in this process is that I am not ashamed of my depression, my anxiety, and whatever other mental health things that I go through. And so I do post socially sometimes my really bad days. Um, I posted kind of like this letter that I wrote to myself in one of my really dark periods where, basically the devil, I didn't have an angel on my shoulder. I felt like I just had a devil on my shoulder that just kept whispering, the world would be better off without you. And I wrote all these things of what my self-talk, and I can't begin to tell you how many people reached out to me, whether it was in the comments or just private messaged me that said, I've been there. I've tried suicide. I feel like you just described me perfectly. And so now I feel as though that's part of my purpose. I do have anxiety about returning to work. I would love to find something that I can share my experiences with people and help other people. But I don't know what that looks like, because I'm not a licensed counselor. I'm just me. But like I said, I do have anxiety about going back to work. So that's something that I'm trying to work through right now as to why, like what I know I can do this job.
Do you have to go back to work?
I do. It's,
okay.
Yeah. Because financially we've taken a huge hit with me not working, and my short-term disability payments stopped. They didn't, for some reason, it didn't get turned over to a long-term disability right away. So for pretty much August and September, I had no income from my benefits of short-term and long-term disability. But that's finally, I think, fixed. Which
Do you
is,
like your job?
I love all of the people that I work with. I'm a marketing and sales rep. So I travel just through, I'm in Florida. So I travel kind of the west coast of Florida, just those along the coastline. So I do get to go to, some pretty nice places and stay in, hotels and whatever, but it's that travel part is what really, I think, is the anxiety inducing. But I love visiting the people that I'm supposed to visit, and have made great friends, and I miss them. So I know I can do the job. It's just, does my brain want me to do it?
So you mentioned another thing that I have to bring up, not just for you, but for everybody out there that's had problems when it comes to the doctor doesn't want to help me. They don't want to see me.
Mm-hmm.
If you're suicidal, call 911 or go to the emergency room and tell them that. Mm-hmm. And the reason I tell you to do this is because they have to help you. Even if they put you on a hold, it's better than the alternative. So a lot of times there's a big shortage of psychiatrists in this country right now, but there's a lot of people that need them. There's the group of people that don't want to see them because they think it's a stigma on them, which is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And there's the group that can't see them because they can't find one where they're at.
Exactly.
So if you can't find help, force it on yourself.
Right.
We have people in our ERs every day that are there because they got picked up by the police. Their spouses called them because they were threatening to do something, right? Mm-hmm. So that is something that can be fixed. And don't
Yeah.
ever give up on yourself. I mean, I think that we all have something to live for, and you just got to find out what it is. If it's not on the top of your mind right now, your husband's one, you've got kids, right?
I have 2 stepchildren that
Okay.
are adults and out of the house.
Okay.
So
So
I have,
you've got kids, you've got a husband,
and I have a new large puppy and
you've got
2
a
puppies and a
dog,
cat.
you've got
3 dogs and
Becky,
a cat.
you've got Becky.
And I've got Becky.
Who can't be
I saw
happy if
her.
they have Becky?
I saw her on Sunday or Saturday, and it was fun because we didn't tell her that we were coming. She was doing
Oh,
a pumpkin fall festival, so she was out there working, and we walked up to her booth, and I love surprising her because she's just has the best.
the puppies need her. Yes.
She just makes you feel good, and she's a really good hugger, and that's something
Becky,
that my husband can do a lot, and he is a great hugger as well. But sometimes, you know, you have those feelings of, well, you're only doing it because you're my husband. And so
I don't
I'm
believe
just
that
saying,
either.
I'm just saying. But to get a hug from your friend that you don't see very often, but is basically your soul sister, you know, sometimes you just need that one because, you know, I'm not married to her.
Right.
I'm not related to her other than the fact that we just decided that we were going to be sisters. And from the first day we met, we literally found out that we had the same tattoo, basically the same tattoo on our arms for the same reason.
Wow.
Yeah, I looked at her. We actually met. She is my youngest stepdaughter, and Becky is the mother of my stepdaughter's boyfriend. So that's how we met. We met at my stepdaughter's graduation because she was there, and I looked over at her arm, and she has a tattoo that says "Believe." So I asked her about it, and she said, "Well, I really love Christmas, and it's the way that Macy's writes it, you know, in the cursive." And so I pulled up or showed her my arm, which I don't know if you can kind of see it, but I have it. It says, "I believe."
Yeah.
I didn't have this other one there before. And I said, "Really?" Because that's funny because I have it because I love Christmas. And I don't know if you noticed, but you can see a Grinch Christmas tree here. I have a Christmas tree sitting in front of me that have been there he just got there, but I honestly have 4 Christmas trees that I have left up all year. So we were meant to be friends. And
Yes.
she's a wonderful support for me.
And she is a very positive influence too.
Yes.
Because she came from a pretty severe, painful situation.
Yes.
And she made it through to the other side, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's also has the most watched interview I've ever done on here. Even more than the doctor.
Aw.
Yeah. So people really liked her. Her husband's did very well too. And I expect this one will do very well. I do.
Yeah, she has a beautiful family. And I do too. I didn't actually share any of what I was going through over the summer with I have an older brother who lives in Minnesota, which is where we came from. And, you know, he has, he's got his own things going on. You know, he's very busy with his work and his kids and things like that. And so we kind of lost touch over the summer, and it wasn't until I think I was starting this or in the middle of this treatment, and I called him and told him, and he was obviously shocked. And I told him that I'd been off work since May, and the one also good thing that has come out of all this is that we didn't have any falling out or anything. I mean, he's just busy, and I was in such a dark place that I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to tell people, I didn't want to be the one that just goes, yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. Where everything else is screaming at, because that's part of the stigma, is that nobody wants to talk about it. I mean, people want to talk about it. I said that wrong. But it's the people that they want to talk to that they don't necessarily know what to say or what to do. And we're not looking for answers. We're not looking for advice or what worked for you. And so it makes people uncomfortable when you say, I'm really not okay. I'm in the deepest valley of depression that I've ever been in. How are you? How are your kids? You can't, it's just not something, because everybody always expects when you say, hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing
Everyone's
great.
Gonna go, I'm great. How are you? And then just it's glossed over. And I want to stop that. I want to be just even that person that just listens. I'm not going to, if you ask me about treatments or something, sure, I'll tell you. But if you just want me to listen and just sit there in the dark with you, I will do that. And Becky and I have done that for each other at different times in our lives. So everybody should have a Becky.
Have you thought about being a life counselor and maybe helping people that are depressed?
Well, I don't have a degree, so
I don't know if you need one.
I don't know, but I like people. I like being social. I wanted to be a teacher when I was going to school. So in my corporate life, I picked up training type positions or created training type positions where I'm okay standing up in front of a group and explaining a procedure or what we have to do. That doesn't bother me. Doing a live stream like this doesn't bother me. So I've thought about it. I just don't know. I wouldn't know where to go to start it, but yeah, I would love to do something like that. I just want to feel something through my heart, not through, what I make, what I bring home. And right now, because of my situation, we're at that point where, I need to find something. If this is not the right career path for me right now, what I'm doing, I have to figure it out pretty quick.
So a couple things I'm going to tell you. Number one, if you can make your passion your paycheck, you're going to be a whole lot happier. Number two, we are not defined by our illness. We're not defined by how much money we make. What we're defined by is how we can help other people. And exactly. I believe that the reason that I suffered so long with such horrible anxiety and depression in my life was because God had a plan for me that I didn't know about, which was that I was going to help other people get over those types of feelings and get better. Right. So that's why I believe I do what I do. I mean, I don't get paid a whole lot of money for doing this kind of stuff. I mean, I make a lot more at my regular job, but this gives me joy, brings me joy helping people. And I think that would take you a long ways. But you said you don't want people to tell you what worked for them. And I agree with that. but you may not have tried something. What if that one person told you something that worked for them that is exactly what you needed to cure you?
I see your point. And I took that with, with what Becky was going through. It's just people that don't know me that
Right.
want to tell me, I, over the summer, where I live, there's a Facebook group of women because I thought, all right, well, you need to find some friends that live in this area. That was my goal. But again, as I said earlier, I'm usually like, yeah, I'm in, and then I'll cancel. But I did go to a pool party. A gal was having a pool party, so I went there, and again, I'm not afraid or ashamed or anything. I'm kind of an open book when it comes to what's going on, for the most part. And so I just said, yeah, I'm not working right now because of XYZ. But I had to sit there and listen to a lady who said that, have you tried acupuncture? Have you tried this? And I can help you with this. And I just thought, you know what, I said, thank you very much. But I think I found a course of action that I'm hoping will work for me. And she wouldn't let it go. And that was hard for me. So I stayed away from that group for a little while because I knew that she was one of those people that I probably would have just said, mind your biz and walk away. So,
right.
That's not my personality. So, but the other thing too is, in my conversation with Becky, a couple weeks ago, I had a kind of a uncomfortable encounter with my stepmother and my father. And, so I called Becky on my way home to tell her about it. And she said that because I actually spoke up, and that's not usually me. I'm usually the one that just kind of comes home and tells my husband all about it. And he's like, did you say this to your parents? And no. So like, I can't, whatever. And it just kind of came out, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't, I didn't scream obscenities or anything. I just calmly stated a couple things that I obviously had been pent up for a while. And so I started laughing, and Becky goes, her doctor has told her that it's almost like a truth serum sometimes, where well, because it opens up your brain, and it kind of releases some of that. I don't know whether it's tension or whatever that's keeping you from saying some of the things that you say. But yeah, I never thought about it that way, but it also reminded me of the confessional that, one treatment, I basically sat up and I cried through pretty much, and this was just a couple of weeks ago. So I'd already been in the process, and I sat up and I started crying. And, my husband, Jay, is just like, what's going on? And I just spilled all these things of, well, I racked up this credit card because of this, and I didn't do this, and I'm sorry that I'm not, and I remember him kind of laughing, and I just kind of snuggled in and just, verbally spewed all of my, the things that I had said, just, I don't know. It was my confessional.
Did that make you feel better, telling that to your parents and telling him those things you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. To be honest, though, I haven't spoken to my stepmother since. And it went about 2 weeks before I finally just, I don't want this to ruin my relationship with my father. So of course I called him, and things are fine there, but I haven't spoken to her. So, but I'm okay with that.
there been any silver lining to this depression? I ask everybody this question. So, and there's a reason for it.
This time around, I believe it's because I was in such a bad place and I'm still here. I may not be as productive as I want to be yet. I may not be, I've started running again. I don't run as far.
It's okay.
But I'm still out there. I'm still out there doing it. But as I also stated, I've been more proactive about mental health and just trying to just share my story. So, because, everybody is so, they show the best of themselves on any social media platform.
Yep.
And, so for me to come out and just basically, if it's not a post about my dog or Christmas, that's usually what I do. Or I do stupid dad jokes on TikTok. And so I haven't done any of that. But I want people to know that, your next door neighbor could be, oh, you haven't seen him for, a couple of days, go check on him.
Yep.
Go, make that phone call, reach out. And so I've been trying to do that with a few people and that I know have reached out to me because of their story and that they wanted to tell somebody and I was it. So I feel like that was kind of my silver lining, and that I feel as though other people can come out and say, me too.
Yep. And I think that
I don't want to.
I think that because of the way the world is right now, and that, it's everything's so expensive, and we had COVID, and, there's just so many problems that it's really easy to focus on the negative things that are happening around us.
Yep.
And there's still a lot of positive things as well. And I think that it's easy, especially if you hang out with the wrong people, to get caught up in this gossiping and, oh God, there's going to be World War III and we're all going to die. It's just crazy stuff like that. And if that happens, it happens. But the thing is, you can't control it. Right. So why waste your life worrying about it? And that's the other thing that I try to tell people is, your main goal really should be to be happy. That's what it should be.
Yeah.
Unless you just had a baby or something, and you have to keep your kids alive. That's different. But for most of us, your main goal should be being happy. And I know if you're depressed, it's hard to do that. And there's a lot of things that you have to work through, and maybe you haven't found the right treatment yet. And, but we're all different. And I believe we can all make it to the other side. Yeah, I do. But it starts up here. It does. It starts up here. You've got to believe you can get better to get better when it comes to mental health.
Mm-hmm. And that you brought up a good point is the fact that, so many people have insurance that doesn't cover therapy, just even talk therapy. So they only have maybe their primary care physician that can, prescribe whatever they think, needs to happen, and or they don't even have insurance. And I've been very lucky in the fact that, I have very good insurance. I have already maxed out my deductible. So even like my prescriptions now are zero. So I'm really okay with that. But, you know, thank goodness that I do have it, because that is a huge burden for some people. And I just feel like I'm reading more and more about people taking their lives, people that I've been in contact with. A former manager of mine, who has 2 little girls, committed suicide a few years ago on, like on St. Patrick's Day. Like, you know, it's just, it hurts me that, you know, we walk amongst these people that are that desperate and we don't even know it. And I'm not saying that people that have depression, you know, have to wear, you know, like a scarlet letter. But there's a company called Hey You Project. And I have t-shirts and I have a couple of sweatshirts that just basically say the world is better with you in it on the back. One says, hey, you look great today. And I like wearing these out. And the funny thing is I kind of thought I would get a little bit more of a reaction from it. But maybe I do, and they just don't, you know, they don't say it. They don't say, oh, hey, where'd you get your shirt? Or I like your t-shirt or whatever. But maybe I'm just hoping that somebody sees it and it makes a difference. So, and plus they also give a part of their proceeds to mental health. So I'm okay with spending a little money there.
Yes. I mean, I'm probably about as big of an advocate for mental health patients as you'll ever find. I think that, you know, the one thing I will tell people is if you need help, get help. Mm-hmm. Don't wait. Don't just assume things are going to get better on their own. If you are severely depressed, because I can't tell you're depressed when I there's no way I would know that unless you told me.
Right.
And that's true of almost everybody. I mean, if somebody's psychotic, I can tell usually just by talking to them. But if they're depressed, unless they're, you know, bedridden depressed, it's very hard to tell because people can mask it very well.
Yeah. And well, then, I actually put on makeup today. So that was, you know, that's a step that I didn't do all summer. So,
and little things like that can really change the way you feel.
Right. You know, I went days without showering and, you know, it was horrible.
Yeah.
My poor husband, I'm surprised I didn't get banished to like the guest room or something.
Well, your husband loves you. That's why he's there.
He does.
Otherwise he wouldn't be there.
Right.
He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to do those things. He does it because he loves you, right?
That's true. Yeah.
And how Becky got better because of the radio show that her husband just happened to listen to.
Right.
Right. You can't tell me that's an accident because I don't believe that.
No.
So that's the other thing that, you know, there's always somebody watching over us.
Right. Yeah. Well,
and there's a reason we're all here.
Yeah.
So what I want you to do, Kimber, is get that book and read it and do the exercises. And then let me know what you think. Because I'm telling you, I don't even know how many copies of this book I bought. It's a lot. And I love the book. And he also did a TED Talk. The guy that, I think his name's David Burns. Pretty sure that's right. Okay. He did a TED Talk that might be worth finding on YouTube just to watch it. Because he explains why he wrote the book and why he came up with this process. And it's really pretty fascinating.
Okay. I will look into it.
But it's probably the best $12 or whatever you'll ever spend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Becky and I feel like we could be pretty good advocates for this particular treatment, you know. And
You guys should start your own podcast or something. You know, I would love to have both of you on sometime. I can have multiple people on the stream. I think that would be awesome.
You wouldn't get a word in edgewise.
No, that's okay. I'd let you guys talk. That'd be fine.
Yeah, I'm sure I could convince her. If she's not still on here, I'm sure I could convince her.
Yeah, I think she'd probably do it.
Yeah, she's good people.
Yes.
And I have the people that are in my circle are the people that I want to be in my circle right now. So
that's another thing you have going for you that a lot of people that are severely depressed do not have, because they don't want to be around anybody and they have no friends.
Right. Well, I mean, I have, and that was another thing that I kind of drew upon, was that I didn't really have a lot of friends here in person. You know, I have, and I'm calling them acquaintances, not because, you know, most of my friends still live in Michigan where I grew up, or, well, actually a handful live down here, but everybody is so busy. They all have, you know, kids that are still in school, a lot of them. And so I don't get a chance to see people as often as I would like. And so I felt like all of my friends were virtual, and that maybe I wasn't, and I think that's also part of my anxiety is I want friends, but then to go out and put myself out there, to, you know, which is again a step with me joining this women's group, where they've had functions and I've just been too afraid to go. But I did make a couple of nice connections, and so we, you know, things are good there. So I'm okay with that. I don't need a big circle. I like to keep, you know.
And you don't need to fix everything at once.
No.
Small steps, make goals, small steps.
Well, and my brother and his wife, I think my brother was pretty shocked when he heard what I was going through. And so now it's very nice because I'll get a Snapchat from him. I've now gotten two cards in the mail from him and a card from my sister-in-law. And it makes me feel good that I'm on their minds, because that all, again, me not reaching out to my brother, it was kind of like, well, he's not calling me, and so he must not, you know, think about me very often. And I mean, my brother was my older brother, my friend, and my father figure for a lot of years. Mm-hmm. So, you know, he is the one person in this entire world, not even my dad, but it's my brother that I want to, I want him to be proud of me. I don't want to disappoint him. And I almost felt like I was also disappointing him by kind of what I felt was being a failure. So
you're not a failure.
I know, but at the time, at that time, and why I didn't contact him, and I just thought, well, you know, if my brother can't find the time for me, then what does it matter? And it's not the case at all. You know, it's just, you know, but
that's another one of those thoughts that you're, I think they call that fortune telling. You're trying to,
I understand.
Yeah. You're telling yourself, my brother's not calling me because he doesn't care about me, when really it probably has nothing to do with that. No, he's probably, like you said, he's busy. He's got his job, his business, whatever, his kids. Yeah, it probably has nothing to do with that at all.
Yeah, had nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
So, but so yeah, so there have been good things that have come out of all of this, and me just kind of reconnecting with my Minnesota family has been, I think, one of the best things for me, because if anybody knew me, they know how much my brother means to me. So
maybe you should
it
go
was,
visit him.
well, they actually have a place here in Florida. So I will see him at Christmas, the
Good.
holidays and stuff. So I'm just not planning anything yet because of the fact that I don't know when I'm going back to work. And obviously I don't want to plan something in like for Thanksgiving or something, and then I'm back at work and I have to take time off. So don't want to do that. I want to be back 100%.
If I was you and you don't feel like you're ready to go back to work, I'd be calling the insurance company and seeing if you can get some longer term disability, because it's not going to do you any good to get back there if you're not ready.
Yeah. I know. And I've had some really good conversations. That's
what the insurance is for. They make plenty of money. You put money in there. There's no reason they can't pay. If you need to be off work, you need to be off work. How long have you worked for this company?
Actually, this December will be just 2 years. So, but I, like I said, I have a really great support system in my boss who basically said, look, you need to take care of you, and I don't want you coming back if you're not 100%, or you feel that you are 100%, you can do the job that you were hired for.
Right.
And that's pretty much, where I'm at there. So I don't know if my job is technically being held for me, because I think long-term disability, it's not job protected. But as of right now,
I wouldn't even worry about that. You got to worry about yourself. The job is a job. That's all it is.
Yeah, I know.
Don't.
They're good.
You take care of Kimber.
I will.
You will make it through.
Yeah.
You will. You'll make it. You'll get there.
It's the one thing that's hard for me right now is just the fact that, again, people that don't understand this, people that have not gone through depression. And like you said, if you look at me, you wouldn't.
Yeah, I can't tell. Never know.
Right. It's not like it's on my forehead or whatever. And some of that I think is, and that's the only thing that I can say is my husband has never gone through depression, has never, so from that standpoint, I also feel like sometimes, I know he loves me, I know he supports me, but it's those times where, I do have good times. I do laugh at, TikToks and, and show him funny videos, and we watch crazy, stupid movies or whatever. And I'll laugh and we'll have fun. And so I think sometimes he thinks that it's like I'm better and I can just, I could go back to work. And it's not the case. So,
that's sometimes a decision that he can't make for you. That's a decision you have to make for yourself.
Right.
If you're not ready, you're not ready.
And he understands that. It's just, it was a financial burden for a little while when things got messed up in the insurance system. But
but
right now, I think we're okay.
I've never met your husband. I don't know him, but I'm quite sure he would much rather have you than the money you would make at your job.
Well, I don't know. I do pretty well.
Pretty sure.
Yeah. He wants me to be happy.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think you can get there.
Yeah,
I'm convinced you can get there.
I will.
I think you just need to take baby steps, take care of yourself, do things that make you happy, make sure you're paying attention to the things that bring you joy, and do them. I mean, and it shouldn't really have anything to do with money. I mean, we need enough money to be able to eat and have a roof over our heads, really. I mean, if you think about it, that's all we
Right.
really need. All the studies show that any more doesn't make you any happier. And a lot of times it just causes more problems anyway. So,
Yeah.
I don't
I'd
know.
like to have a couple of those problems just once.
Well, people always say that. But then when you talk to some of these people that have won the lottery and they're not any happier than we are, right?
Yeah, I don't need to win the lottery, but I am, again, stepping out and trying to take some baby steps, going to this little kind of sanctuary for little creatures like sloths and
wow.
I don't know if they have lemurs there or not, but a friend of mine posted, she's someone that I run with. We do the 5Ks, or we did the 5Ks together, and we've set up some for the rest of the year. So we have stuff going on each month. But yeah, so she posted about it and I said, I want to go. She goes, absolutely. So I went on and got some tickets. And so that's what I'm going to do Saturday morning. So it's that stuff that makes me happy. If I could, play with animals all day, I'd be happy.
Well, then you probably should try to do that.
Well, we'll see. I've got some things spinning in my head. So we'll see if any of that comes to fruition.
Okay. Okay. Well, we've been on here an hour and 12 minutes. It's been great though. I mean, you've been awesome. I really enjoyed this. I think that I'm hoping a lot of people watch this and learn something from it, because there's so many people out there with anxiety and depression that have no idea. They don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. They don't know who to talk to. They
can talk to me.
Can talk to Kimber. Can talk to me too. I mean, I'm all about this. And there's right. Really a lot of people like us that have been down in the darkest spots that like to help people get out of that, or at least teach them something that can help them. Maybe it's how to do deep breathing techniques. Maybe it's a tapping method. Maybe it's meditation. Maybe can be a lot of different things.
Right.
And I'll tell you, people don't realize this, but TikTok can be really good for anxiety too. And you know why? Because when you're scrolling through and you're looking at all this stuff and all this crazy stuff, you're not thinking about your heart rate or the sweat. You don't think about things that are going on in your body. And really, that's what you have to learn to do as far as anxiety goes. Depression is a different animal, but with anxiety, it's that fight or flight adrenaline rush that's happening in your body. And the more you think about it, the worse it gets. Yeah.
That is true. Unless you find yourself on like the Karens of TikTok.
Right.
But and I do like kind of scrolling through there because there's a few people that I really enjoy what they do, their content, and it's just fun. And I'll just kind of, once you get kind of in that, I don't know what they call it, but basically, like
zone.
Yeah. And just, I'll start sending people, links to it because it's just so funny. I feel like I need to share it, and that makes me happy. But then I feel like sometimes I'm on my phone all the time looking for that escape. So, my husband challenged me to go a day without my phone. And
you don't know how many times I've heard that from my wife. I'm not interested in doing that.
Well, I said, okay. But then I remembered, I have all these Snapchat streaks and then I play, crossword puzzles to keep my brain going. Yeah. And so I was on these streaks. And so I said, well, can it start at like 8:30 in the morning? Because we always get up early with our dogs and have coffee and whatever. And I'm like, so I'll do all of my snap stuff, and I'll keep my streaks, and then I'll do my crossword, and then I'll put my phone away. But we were waiting to hear back from our insurance company, so that didn't really work very well. And at about 2:00, I said, I can't do this anymore. So it was a challenge I completely failed at. I do not recommend.
Do you schedule happy time? Do you schedule happy time for Kimber every day?
No.
You should.
I know. Part of my happy time was to actually, get back out and either run or I've been starting to go to the gym, which is literally, it's in our neighborhood.
Good.
So I can run or walk. It's 3/4 of a mile away, and I can do that and then work out. And it has just enough things that I need, that I want, and then come home. And I started to do that, and then I kind of trail off again. So I just need to start doing that. But I did run with 2 of my neighbors yesterday. So
do you have any hobbies besides running?
I like to craft.
Okay. Have you been doing that?
No.
Okay.
No, and part of it was, when I was, because of one of the drugs that I was taking, I couldn't, my hands were shaking so bad that I couldn't do, the things that I needed to do. It's just making Christmas trees. Of course it's Christmas.
Are they shaking now?
No, because
Christmas
it was
trees. Start making Christmas trees tomorrow.
Maybe.
Start making Christmas trees tomorrow.
No, tomorrow I can't. Tomorrow's my treatment.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, schedule a time to make Christmas trees during your day when you can. And do it.
I will, because I do like it.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I tell people on my TikTok lives all the time to get a sheet of paper, draw a line down the middle of it. On the left side, write the things that you love to do. And on the right side, write the things that you hate doing. And spend more time doing the things on the left side than you do on the right side. I know that sounds crazy. That sounds stupid, but it works. It works.
No, because it sounds like a genius idea.
If you spend more time, and I'm pretty sure that's in that book. I think that's where I got it from. But if you concentrate on what you're doing throughout the day and you make sure that you're doing stuff that you like to do.
Right.
And another thing that helps is telling yourself every day when you get up, today's going to be a great day. I'm going to help people today. I'm going to smile at people I see today. People are going to smile back at me. Not, oh my God, I got to go to work. I hate that job. That place sucks. I wish I didn't have to do. There's a huge difference between starting your day the first way versus the second way, right?
Right. For sure.
And smile at everybody you see, because when you smile at them, they're likely to smile back at you, which always makes you happier.
I do, but where I live, people don't smile around here. They're grumpy. I'm not kidding. The only people that I actually get to smile or say something back to me is when I'm running around on the, in our neighborhood with the, on the fitness trail, because we all just kind of do the, and the smile, but at least most people will smile back. But
if I was a betting man, I would say you're going to get through this and you're going to be fine. That's what I think. I think you're going to be able to do it because I think that you have the desire to do it. And I think you're receptive to ideas, obviously, or you wouldn't be doing the nasal ketamine.
Yeah.
And
because it's not.
I think you have a lot of reasons to do it. I know you have a supportive husband because I can't tell you how many people have told me my husband won't even take me to my treatments. He won't take me to places. Over and over, I've heard it. He doesn't have time. Right?
That was a huge decision maker was, luckily my husband works from home. And his job is very, it's on the phone and, emails and things like that, which he can do from his phone. And so for the 4 hours, because it's about 4 hours, just because it's like a 45-minute drive there and back to this clinic that I have to go to. So I'll help you with your shirts, Becky.
Becky needs help.
Well, yeah, and I just asked her if she could make me a couple Detroit Lions things too. So I just added to her her ordering. So but yeah, like he said if he could take me to all of my appointments, and we make them on the days where I know he doesn't have meetings. He went out of town 1 week, and he thought we weren't going to make that session. I have neighbors that have stepped in and said, let me know. And I'm like, it's a 4-hour commitment. I can't ask you to do that. We'll just reschedule it. And my neighbor says, no. She said, you tell me where we need to go, what time, and I'll take you. And my husband, for whatever reason, didn't have to be there as long as he was. So he changed his flight and came home early so he could take me to my treatment. So I do have a good support system there. And he just does it because he's very nurturing and very, he's definitely the rock.
Can I tell you a secret, Kimber?
Yeah.
Your husband doesn't take you to watch the coach. He takes you because he loves you.
I know he does.
And he wants you to get better.
Yep.
That's why he takes you.
Yeah. Yeah. He's good people.
So you've got a lot going for you.
Yeah.
Right? You've got a good support group. You've got Becky.
I've got a Becky.
You've got dogs.
I've got dogs. I got a cat. I got it all.
You're in good shape. You can run. I mean, let's think about the good things. Think about the people that weigh 400 pounds that can't move, or, there's a lot of things that could happen to you that could make things a whole lot worse. Right. But I think if you just concentrate on, everybody has bad days. What I usually tell people is if every day was a good day, there'd be no good days. There'd just be days. Mm-hmm. So the bad days make the good days that much better.
Right.
But when you get out of control and you get to the point where you're severely depressed and you need help, get help. And try to learn as much as you can about the anxiety. I know the anxiety can be beat because I've done it. So I know it can happen. Right. I mean, I thought I was going to die. I ended up in emergency rooms. I was a mess when I was young.
Yeah.
So I know that can happen.
Well, and it's funny because my very first panic attack happened while I was driving home this was before my husband Jay and I were married. And I was driving back from his place up to my place on I-75, and I just, I couldn't breathe. I was, the spots were going in my eyes, and I'm driving in the dark, and I call him and I'm like, I don't know what's happening. And, in tears and, almost choking because I'm crying and I can't breathe. And he's like, pull over. So I did. And he just sat there on the phone with me for about, 5 minutes until I kind of calmed down and said, are you all right to drive home? And I said, yep. And I made it home. And that was the first time. I know it had happened before, but I guess I just never realized that it was a panic attack for no reason. So he knows that he's kind of my calming presence. So
sounds like a good guy to me. Sounds like you got a good guy.
Yeah, he's good.
Becky says he's a good egg.
He is, and he's funny too.
He's funny. That's a bonus.
And he's a really good cook. So,
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah. Since when he goes out of town, we go to the grocery store and it looks like that we're buying for like a teenage boy because everything in there is like microwavable or it's, cookies and, chips and soup and things that I can just heat up, Pop-Tarts, cereal. So yeah, I would be a lot thinner if he didn't cook so well. But I'm lucky.
Eat. Have you had your vitamin D level checked?
Mm-hmm.
Is it okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
What you eat can also make a difference in your mood too. A lot of people don't realize that, but it's true. If you stick with whole foods and stay away from the junk food, can make a huge difference.
That's going to be tough, but we've done it before.
But it's worth it.
Yep, it is.
It changes your mood. And remember, eating is just a habit. What you eat is a habit. Right. If you get used to eating Doritos and ice cream every day, that's just what you do. But if you get used to eating healthy, whole foods,
right,
it's better for your body and it actually will improve your mood. Most people don't believe that, but if you've ever done the Whole30 diet, I guarantee you would feel different.
I agree with that. Years ago, we did kind of like a Weight Watchers type diet where we counted our stuff and we each lost about 10 pounds. Mm-hmm. And I will say that, yes, we did feel a lot better. So I do agree with that. And it's, we're just in one of those ruts right now where we don't, what I need to do is make a list and we need to start planning meals instead of just going to the grocery store hungry and you go past the Pop-Tarts and you buy 2 boxes.
Yeah, you should not be eating Pop-Tarts. You already know that. You should not.
Yeah.
That's, I'm going to say that the best thing I ever did for myself was stop drinking. And the second best thing I ever did for myself was stop eating junk food and fast food.
We don't really eat a whole lot of fast food.
I keep seeing these balloons that I've never seen before, and I love that.
I like balloons. But yeah, my husband, he puts pork shoulders on the smoker. He does brisket.
Yeah, that's way better.
So, I mean, I'm sure pork shoulder is not like super great for you if you eat it all the time, but it's better than
better than a Pop-Tart.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, I know. Pork shoulder is better than a Pop-Tart for sure.
Yeah. So I know we can do it, and it does make me feel better.
Small changes, small habits.
Yep.
Can change.
Yeah.
I want you to concentrate on your mood first, though. But there's a lot of things that you can do to help that people don't even think about. And food is one of them. Yeah. I mean.
Okay. Well, Becky, the doctor said that we can't have our, eat a bag of apple pie puffs from Sam's Club.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Yeah. That was our plan.
If it'll make you laugh, then you probably should do it, though, right?
Well, it was one of it was Becky's suggestion, not mine, but we had just had a conversation over the weekend that I literally ate a Sam's Club size bag of these apple pie crisp or puffs. I call them poofs, but I think that goes from, like the South Park days. But I said I ate them in like 3 days, the whole bag. And I was sick to my stomach 2 nights in a row because I ate so much. She goes, yeah, I've done that in a whole day.
Apple puffs and Christmas movies.
Yep. I'm down.
You two are going to have too much fun.
Yeah.
You should have your own show.
We might get we might get canceled right away.
I don't know. You can
Some
do
of the
your own.
things that we might come up with.
You guys should do your own YouTube show. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, well, we'll have to talk about it when I go hang out with her for the afternoon.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Okay, Kimber, is there anything else you want to tell all these beautiful people out here?
Just check in with your friends, even the ones that are smiling and laughing. Just make a point to let them know that you are there for them.
And when you ask somebody how they're doing and they say, I'm fine, don't always believe that's true, especially if you see signs that it's not true.
Yeah, most definitely. But that's kind of the one thing. And don't stop trying treatments.
Right.
You know, if you are a lucky person that has good insurance and has the means to try different types of medications, don't give up on something if it doesn't work. There's so many other different combinations that doctors can work with, and that's, you know, I had to go through that. I had to figure out that, you know, this isn't working, and, you know, my first thought is, well, I'm not going to be able to get any help because this isn't even working, and they've upped my dosage to this. So, but, you know, I take 200 milligrams of sertraline every morning. I have Klonopin that I can take twice a day. And I take one at night with a trazodone. So, and I'm fine with it because I can actually sleep. And that was something that I wasn't able to do for a long time. So,
and that's
so check on your friends. Yep.
If you're not sleeping, it doesn't matter what psychiatric disorder you have, it will get worse. 100% of them. That's one thing that we always used to do in the psych hospital I worked in, both of them, is we would record how much sleep everybody got every day.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to get a psychiatrist. Don't be afraid to fire your doctor if they're not doing what you want them
I did.
to do.
I did.
Thanks for the balloons. I don't know where those balloons are coming from, but I really like them.
But I can see them, and that's awesome.
You can see them too?
I can see the balloons, and every once in a while I can see Becky's comment. So,
well, that's because I put them up there.
Oh,
I don't have anything to do with the balloons, but I see I can show you the comments.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I just know Becky's there, and that's good enough for me.
Becky's here. She is. So I think we should try to schedule an interview with you and Becky on here at the same time. And I think that, you know, if you guys want to do all the talking, that's just fine. But I think that would be fun. And I think people might like that because you both have a pretty compelling story. Yeah. And see, Becky said she wouldn't miss it. So I think we should try it.
All right. I'm down. I'll do it.
Right? I think we should do it.
If it helps one more person in this world, then I will come on every day if I have to.
You know, YouTube is one of those things that you never know what's going to work. It could turn out to be the biggest thing ever. Who knows? You just don't know. People might really relate to you too.
I think so, because we're too, I'm not going to say basic, but, you know, we're just everyday regular people that have things going on, you know.
You're real.
Right. I never gave birth to any children, and there aren't any living here. She has 3 beautiful children that are wonderful young adults. And, you know, my husband and I have struggled. My husband's lost his job a couple times since we've been married. And, you know, we're still doing our thing, and and so is Becky and Matt and their kids. And, it's not some, you know, celebrity endorsed product that says, here, go take this. or go do this. But, if you can, I would highly recommend esketamine, the Spravato treatment. One thing I do know, you do have to be pre-approved
That's
with your
okay.
insurance company and all that kind of stuff. But just, in case anybody is listening. But I also have a friend in Minnesota who's always been on medications, has severe panic and anxiety. I don't know if he has depression, but I think it's more of the panic and the anxiety. And his wife saw my post about Spravato and told my friend about it. And so he's been in contact with me, and he brought it up to his doctor. And so now he is actually going to be trying this as well. So I'm really hoping that it works for him.
That's exactly what I was talking about earlier.
Right.
There could be reasons that you don't know about. You might help hundreds of people, thousands. You just don't know, right?
Right.
You don't know.
No.
I know for a fact that Becky's helped people just from our interview. Mm-hmm. A lot of people saw it. Yeah. I know people that, because some people, they think, oh God, my life sucks and blah, 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 but then they see her and they're like, man, it could be so much worse. And she got through it. Right.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I think that a lot of people are looking for hope. They're looking for a reason to believe that they can do things.
Yes.
And watching and seeing other people do it
mm-hmm.
makes it easier.
Yeah. And like I said, and we're real people. So
we're real people.
Not getting paid for this. I'm not.
That's right. You're definitely real.
But you can have those deep, dark valleys, and you can climb up. And that's where I'm at right now, is I'm still climbing. But with the help of the Spravato, which I think has been really kind of a godsend, I actually have a rope. I feel like I have a rope to help me climb. And before I didn't. So.
Good. That's great. I'm glad it works for you. I remember working in the psych hospital, waiting for it to come out. I remember talking to the sales reps about it. We just couldn't wait for it.
Yeah.
And then we couldn't use IV ketamine because they wouldn't let us. Everybody was so nervous about it, which is crazy, but it is what it is. We did it anyway at one time and kind of got my hand slapped, but it actually worked for the person. So I didn't feel bad about it at all. It's like, hey, my job is to make people better. And the boss said it was okay. So we did it. And then they were mad because there was no anesthesiologist there. Well, we didn't need one for that dose at that time.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's a whole other story.
I think that's kind of what they talk about in this, is that it was used with anesthesia or something.
No, it still is. We use it all the time.
Yeah.
We also use it for pain in kids all the time in the emergency room every day.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yep. But it's got a bad rap because people abuse it, right? So then it's got this stigma attached to it.
Right. If they've even heard of it. But yeah, and that's why you have to be in the, in somebody's office, and you have to be there for 2 hours.
Right.
There's a reason that everything is good.
Yep.
And I just curl up on the couch, and I bring my blanket and my pillow, and I do my best to just relax and not think about anything.
I think that's
which
great.
is really hard. But
we're going to see Kimber on an ketamine commercial one of these days on YouTube. I'm going to be watching my TV, and all of a sudden she's going to pop up there.
Yeah, that would be fun. I would love to do a commercial. I did some back in Florida years and years ago. and that was really fun. But yeah, I would do one.
Maybe I'll have you do some commercials for my supplements. Who knows? You could do that.
I would.
Okay, I am going to pop off of here, and I'm going to see if I can schedule. You guys let me know what nights are good for you. The best nights for me would be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Fridays I can't do it because I have to drive back to Portland. Well, it's because I have to drive back to Portland, but any of those days generally work for me.
Okay.
This week, Thursday won't because my wife's coming to visit, but generally.
Where are you right now?
I'm at the beach. So
What beach?
I'm at Newport. I live in Oregon. So I work at the beach during the week, and then I go back to the city on the weekends.
Oh.
The family's back at the city.
Okay.
Because the kids are in really good school districts, and the schools here aren't near as good. So it's a long story, but that's what we do. So
that's all right. If it works for you, that's great.
It's worked for almost a year.
Portland's great.
Well,
the West Coast, I think. Well, I've heard it's gone down since the last time I visited, but yeah, my parents used to live. My dad and my stepmother used to live in Vancouver, Washington. So I've been out there. I went out there twice.
You should come to the beach here, Becky. You should come visit. You should.
That's funny. But
we could do some videos.
All right, Becky, let's go.
Okay.
If she's still on here, then yeah.
She's still here. She just sent me. See? Yes. Here. See?
That's a beach we have. Yeah, that's true. We're usually in the Sarasota beaches.
You guys are about as far away from me as you can get in the United States.
Yeah, I'm just south of Tampa, about 20 minutes. So, and then she's about an hour away from me. So, but yeah, my husband and I have decided that we're going to buy a camper, and we're just going to move it onto Becky's property. And we're going to, because their last name is Johnson, as ours is Johnson. So it's just going to be the Johnson compound.
Yeah.
And you know,
you could be the J7 instead of the J5.
Exactly. So,
yeah. You want to see snow? Well, Mount Hood's here, and there's probably already snow up there. So you could certainly see snow in Oregon.
Well, I'm from Michigan and Minnesota originally.
Oh, you've seen plenty of snow.
Snow in my life. So I don't need to go back. It's cold. It's very, very cold. But it was really fun though when my stepdaughter brought her boyfriend, who was born and raised here in Florida, and he had never seen snow, and to see his reaction and to see him go out and play in the snow, and it happened to unfortunately be a really wet snow. So it wasn't as, kind of nice and powdery, and, because he was like, oh, this is really wet. And, so that was a disappointment, but he at least got to explore the snow. And my husband, of course, did donuts in the parking lot for him.
Yeah.
Again, not something you do here in Florida.
Right.
So anyway.
Okay, young lady.
I could go on and on. So I will let you go have your life.
Okay. And we will schedule a time. I think that'll be fun. I've never had more than one person on here at a time, but I want to try it. And I think this could be the perfect opportunity for that.
Be careful what you wish for.
No, hey. I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah, it would be. It would be.
Okay. Thank you, Kimber. Thank you guys for coming in. I really appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
And bye, everyone.
We'll see you.
Okay.
Till next time.
Yeah. Bye, Kimber.
Bye.